right, we got episode 3 of the Up to You podcast. My name's Carson.
My name's Pierre.
Pierre, and then a guest. We have Carson Towt. Towt?
Towt. Better Carson here.
All right, we're starting early. We're starting off hot like that. But he is the big guy at NAU, Northern Arizona University. So this is how we do it, man. We just get right into it. So introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from, and we'll start there.
Yeah, so like Carson said, I'm Carson Towt. I went to Gilbert High School. I'm from Gilbert, Arizona. And a little bit about kind of like my backstory. All I did was shoot. That's really how I touched the floor my first few years of high school. All I did was shoot threes. I know me and Pierre were talking about that. And my game transitioned into, just being in the post. Now I'm like 2 feet away from the rim. That's how I've been the last few years. But the good thing about that is I learned how important motor is, how important drive is, and how important it is to double down on really what you do. So I found something I was good at and something I could replicate every game, being the dude who dives on the ball, being the dude who goes for that rebound that no one goes for, and just almost like Dennis Rodman type stuff. So I doubled down on that, and that's really what got me to the next level. And now I'm at NAU. I'm in a position of leadership and position of impact on the program. We had a good run in our conference championship, and
we'll get to all those details.
Oh yeah,
I want to talk about that whole conference run and all that. But even to bet like couple steps back, like growing up, were you an athlete in multiple sports? Talk about like your childhood, getting into hoops. When was like you're like, all right, I'm a hooper?
Yeah, so I played all sports growing up. It was really basketball for me. I kind of decided in, I think, 7th grade, because all my brother played basketball, and I just copied everything my brother did. So I didn't really start thinking for myself till probably when I hit high school, and you hit those highs and those lows, and you start thinking, like, what do I really want to do, right? And so I hit that point, and I'm like, yeah, it's basketball, right? So I played, and I've thought about playing football. A lot of people tell me I should play football with my frame and my stature and strength and stuff and how I play, but really high school is when I doubled down on basketball.
Mm-hmm. And then as far as high school hoops, so you said Gilbert High School.
Yep.
And then what about like the AAU stuff?
So the AAU scene, it was kind of weird for me. I think it was unique because I got to this level with really minimal involvement in it. I played for really small teams in junior high, in high school, so I really didn't get any exposure from the AAU scene. So I think it's important, and going back, it's important to get on one, find a good trainer and make that investment. If you're gonna double down on basketball, find a good trainer, make that investment. That's important. 2, find a program and coaches that you trust and that you can put your kind of future into their hands, and know that you're getting the exposure, know that and that'll always change. You'll bounce around from team to team because something happens or it's not the right fit, but it's important to find those situations. I didn't have those luxuries of the AAU and that exposure. So all my exposure came from high school and really just winning a state championship and leading them. So I didn't get any college looks until after my senior year of high school. And I was getting NAIs and D3s. Yeah. And then towards the end, kind of like we were making our run, and then they saw we won state and my film started getting out. That's when the D1 started hitting.
You can relate to that.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, it's funny because development, I believe, especially with young kids, you need game reps. Yes. When you play on those mom and pop teams or smaller teams, you get game reps, you get to make mistakes, you get to build confidence. So then in the state title game, I'm sure you probably had a big game, or that senior season was really good because you were able to make those mistakes. So talk about like the development in high school. How was training? How was practice? Were you one of those players that rode the bench freshman year and had to like find a role, or did you always kind of have that starter's role?
So I was in junior high. I kind of started getting the role of just being the shooter. Yeah. I came off the bench 7th grade year, and then 8th grade I started starting, and then freshman and sophomore year of high school I started for freshman year, and then JV sophomore year. And then I didn't play varsity till my junior year, which I think a lot of kids can't relate to. Yeah. A lot are, they go to high school and they're the guy, or they're coming off the bench and they're playing varsity. So I kind of had to earn my way into minutes, earn my way into time, And as far as a training standpoint, and I go back to it, and I look back on it, and I would change some things, but I did everything myself. Yeah. You know, I was getting in the gym. I was learning. Me and my brother, really. We had a summer where I got so good at shooting the basketball, dude. And we did everything ourselves. And going back, I would get a trainer. I would get someone with structure. Yeah. I would make that investment. We did everything ourselves. That's kind of how I got there. It's kind of what I've been doing too, and that's why I'm finally opening up to trainers and training, and because if you're going to make it to that next level, you need structure. You need people. You need other voices. You need people. You need people who have been there, like you, Pierre. You've been overseas. You've been everywhere. You've been training guys. So you need that. You need that in your life. You need that in your career.
Absolutely. So when you were varsity, obviously, senior year, and you were getting not that much exposure and like D3 NAIAs, were you having like any self-doubt? Were you upset like, how am I not getting looks? This is ridiculous. Like maybe you compared yourself to other dudes getting looks at bigger schools. Were you ever just like, what's going on? Kind of talk through that process.
Absolutely. So they say comparison is the thief of joy, right? And I mean, you find yourself comparing every day. I still do. I think it's good. In a sense, in a balance, comparing is good when it's healthy, when it's, okay, that guy's in that position, he's from where I'm from, I can go do that.
He shows what's possible.
He shows what's possible for me. But when you're comparing and it's at a level of
envy.
Yeah, envy and jealousy, that's when it gets unhealthy. But, dude, like you said, working through a lot of self-doubt. I mean, you hit those points, it's your senior year, and you're like, dude, am I going to have to go be a normal student next year at ASU? Yeah. Like my brother went for a finance degree at ASU. Am I going to go do I'm 6'8", 6'7", 6'8". Am I going to have to go?
No, it's tough. It's tough. It's tough to deal with the friends that are like, yo, you don't have any offers, right? Your parents are like, you know what? You might have to just go to school. Yeah. You might have to lock in and go to school, get a degree, get good grades, and it's tough when you're a kid.
No, absolutely. And I had the grades to do that. Yeah. And so that was always in the back of my mind was, can I even make it? But then they started trickling in. Yeah. But I was like, dude, like you said, can I make it to that next level? Yeah. And then the D3s and the NAIAs trickle in. I'm like, am I a D3 player? Am I an NAIA player? And that's when, you just keep your head down, you keep going, and you get some clarity with it, and things start rolling your way. You build some momentum.
Yeah, I was going to say, so through that process, you did just keep your head down and kept working and just kept putting in the inputs and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a formula to any of those emotions or navigating any of those emotions and those feelings. And, there's nights in the gym where you're on the gun and you're crying to yourself, like, it's just you in the gym. You got music on, whatever. There's nights where I turn off the music and I'd sit there and cry. I'd literally be on the ground. I'd be like folded up, and I'd be crying. I'd be like, dude, what? Like God, show me the way. Give me something. Like, what am I doing? Yeah. So,
that is tough. But then you get through it, obviously, and the process goes. You win state. So talk about them starting to trickle through. So film gets out. Who's kind of like who's the first like bigger school that you're like, oh man, like here we go? Yeah.
So I was in fourth period clay. I was literally in clay. I was like molding clay. I was like sitting at the table. Yeah, phone starts buzzing. And it's my high school coach. He's actually literally upstairs. He teaches like lab biology or something. And he's like, hey, step outside of class real quick. I'm like, hey, teacher, can I step out? Like, so I stepped out, and he's like, California Baptist just called me. It's a D1, and they want you. Mid-major? Yeah, it's WAC. So it's in there with GCU. Yeah. Seattle. Exactly. Yeah. And I'm like, D1, wait. Yeah. Like, I went to like a D2 camp. Mm-hmm. I took a visit to, my first visit was Eastern Oregon. It was in the middle of nowhere. Yeah. And so to hear that, I was like, oh, okay, so this is real. This is reality. And they want you to come on a visit in the next couple of weeks. And I'm like, oh shit, like this is real. So it was California Baptist, and then I took a visit to GCU. I went and played when Marley was the coach and TJ Benson was there. TJ Benson was recruiting me. I took a visit there. I was getting like kind of through the network communication with St. Mary's. But never directly with Randy Bennett, but he was talking to like his GAs and stuff, and they were going through that. Yeah. And then NAU was the other one, which is where I'm at right now. But the problem was with my situation was it was all after the season, and everyone's scholarships were filled. Yeah. And so everyone's talking to me, and they're like, "You're gonna have to come, but you're gonna have to pay the first year." Yeah. And that's also kind of heartbreaking too. It's like, man, I've worked I'm going to have to go pay, and who knows what happens if I even get that scholarship. So that's kind of how that went.
Got you. So, yeah, I mean, you can relate to that. Obviously, you had the preferred walk-on situation. But then, so obviously the visit went well. You decided to go to Cal Baptist. So talk through that decision. And then, step in like your first couple days on campus and all that.
Cal Baptist is a great school.
Cal Baptist, it's amazing. Nice. Campus is nice. The facilities are crazy.
On the visit where you're like,
dude, I mean,
Cal Baptist is nice.
You go there, yes, bro. You go there, and the facilities look like that, and I was like, dude, I'm sold. And it's my first it's D1. It's my first visit, so I commit. I commit a couple weeks later. I obviously had to go home, talk to the fam, but I knew I was in. And so this is what happened. I ended up getting hurt a month before I left. I was like, shit, dude. I was texting the coach. I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, what do you want me to do?
Before you left for campus? Like,
for Cal Baptist, yeah. So it was right around graduation time of high school. I got hurt. And it kind of just started happening. I kind of just started feeling it. It's called proximal hamstring tendinopathy. It's this spot in your hamstring that connects to your pelvic bone that gets no blood flow. And I was like, all right, so I didn't know that at the time.
I love that he can pronounce it perfect.
He's locked in.
Locked in. He's so locked into it.
Well, I got to know it real well because that was my hang up for a while. But I didn't know that at the time. I just knew there was pain. And so I went out there and I worked through it. And then I started compensating. I'm on my right leg. It was my right leg. So my back starts hurting. And I'm like, shit. So we have a weight room sesh, and I tear something in my back. So now I got both, right? And I'm a freshman. I don't really know what's going on. It's my first time with the D1. Like,
and you're a walk-on.
I'm a walk-on, dude.
Figure it out.
Yeah, so I'm just pushing through it. Exactly. Yeah. I'm pushing through it. I'm telling them, and like I'm getting a little bit of treatment here and there. But I was like, dude, can I get some imaging? Can I get some MRIs? Like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And so I went through that summer and had a great time with the coaches and the players. But at the end of the summer, I go home. Summer ends. We go to Australia for a foreign tour. That was awesome. That was an incredible experience. So I got to do that. And then I'm back home in Gilbert. My high school coach, Jay Casario, calls. And he goes, I was at Red Robin with my family. And he goes, phone rings again. It's just buzzing. I step outside. And he goes, Coach Croy just called me. And I was like, okay, like, what's going on? And he goes, he's asking if you ever faked injuries in high school. And I said, faked injuries in high school? My heart just dropped. My face, and I'm like, and I felt that pain all summer, and like all that emotional shit going on. And he goes, I told him, like, he doesn't know who he's messing with if he's asking those kind of questions. And I said, you know what, next coach, talk to my family. And I called coach and I said, you don't know who I am. Like, if you're asking these type of questions, you don't know who I am. I'm out. So I literally went out there with my mom the next day, went and packed up all my stuff, came home. Drove 6 hours home. I mean, we're driving out there and I'm like, what am I doing right now? I'm leaving a D1 university that I'm going to get a scholarship for next year. Like, what am I doing? And that was a crazy experience.
Yeah, man, that's a quick turnaround. But so then you obviously, from there, you went to NAU. Did you have NAU in the bag already, or did you just go leave and you were like, now what?
Yeah, so that was a funny story too. So they got word that I was leaving through Casario, through the network. They got word that I was leaving, and he calls me the next day and he goes, hey, we got a spot for you. You'll get a scholarship as soon as you get healthy, but we need you up here. You need to be up here tomorrow. And I'm driving back to Gilbert from California. And I said, okay, let me talk to my family and I'll give you an answer. And I got home and I'm like, and there's one thing I do remember from my exit meeting with California Baptist. They told me, you need to figure out where your heart is. And they thought of that from a different perspective, but I took that and I ran away with it from my own perspective. Like, I really do. Like, you guys think that my heart isn't in it, but it is. But I still have to do that assessment myself.
Yeah, so what I love about this is, like, a lot of players take those conversations really, really personal, and they run from it, right? But you took it and kind of manifested it into making you push forward. And it's tough because, like, you have those conversations with coaches, and they say, we were just talking about this, they say crazy things to you, and you take it so literal that sometimes you crawl up in the ball and you're like, I don't want to play anymore, right?
Yes.
But back against the wall, what are you going to do, right? Somebody says something to you, what are you going to do, right? Are you going to be the person that shouts back and cries and do all these things? Or are you going to use it to your advantage and keep pushing? And you did that, and that's tough. That's hard.
Not a lot of people
As
could
a
do it.
freshman too.
Say there's a lot of people that would be in that scenario, just be like, all right, I'm done
Junior, senior
hooping.
year,
Going.
like I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm not doing this anymore.
Dude, 100%. And then so I took that time. Well, I came home and he said you got to be there the next day, and I was like, dude, I got to figure out.
Yeah.
I got to take those words. I got to kind of figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, what do I really want? And how do I heal this? How do I I'm not just going to jump up there when I'm hurt. Like, and then what happens? So I talked to my family and I told them I can't do it. I gotta figure out what I want. And so I literally was home for a 6-month stretch doing nothing. I was like, do I need to go be a normal student? Do I need to go try to walk on the football team at ASU? Yeah. Like, what am I doing? Like, I had no clue what I was doing. And so I ended up working at a snow shack on the side of the road. I was pouring syrup on snow cones. Yeah. I was serving some snow cones out to the people, man. And I was coaching some teams, and then I just trained. So I'd hit the court, I'd hit physical therapy, try to get healthy, and then I'd work, try to make some money. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, there was a lot of emotional ups and a lot of downs during that period because I thought I was a deadbeat. Yeah. I came home, like, why did I leave? And then you start doubting stuff. Back to the doubt. Yeah. You start doubting things, going back to, like, why did I leave?
The process of your development during that time, like, what were you focused on? What were you working on? Was it just you working out? Did you bring a coach out there? How was that?
Yes. Yeah, so it was kind of a weird time. All I could do was form shoot. Yeah. So you form shoot for 5-6 months, you start questioning, is my form right? Like, what am I doing? Like what am I doing here? Yeah. I need some structure. I need someone to talk me through what I'm actually doing. So all I was clear to do was form shoot, and then physical therapy. But physical therapy wasn't making me any better. Yeah. So I ended up committing. I went to NAU at the semester mark. Joined a team in the middle of the year. I don't know how often that happens. Think about it from a college athlete perspective. Has anyone ever joined the team in the middle of the year? You have your locker room set. It was weird.
Yeah, adding another like personality, a person. Yeah,
but it shows that they wanted you though.
Yeah.
It shows that they wanted them, needed them. 100%. Right. They bring you on in the middle of the season. That's insane.
100%. Yeah. So it was weird and I remember my first day there, a little taste of D1 basketball right away. They were getting off the bus. They just played Sacramento State, got smoked by Sac State. They pulled off on the bus. It was just me and my mom. We drove up to Flagstaff. It was my first day. We got all my luggage in the back, and they get off the bus, and I'm kind of like, what do I do here? Do I give them some knuckles? They just got smoked. And some guys were walking with their heads down, hoods up. Yeah. And coach is the last one to get off the bus. He's like, Carson, good to see you. We got film right now. Come up. I'm like, okay, yeah, good to see you, man. Like, I don't know what my bags are in the car. My mom's right here. Like, what do I do? I'm like, Mom, just wait in the car. I'm going up to film. Yeah. And so I went up to film. Film, and it's college basketball, dude. And I stepped right in. And I don't think I was slouching, but I was sitting maybe like this, kind of like, but not straight up. Here, straight up. I was a little bit this way. And he goes, head coach, who I'm very close with now. Sit up straight, Carson. I'm like, okay. Take off your hat, too. I was wearing a hat backwards. I'm like, wow. So this is a taste of it. Now, I got a taste of it at CBU, but now I'm getting a taste of it mid-season. Emotions are high. I'm like, this is what it's like. So that was like right there. I was like, this is what it's like, man.
Dang, this is crazier than I thought it was gonna be. Yeah. But you got something?
No, I have a story kind of similar to that. We played U of A when I was at ASU. At U of A, Tucson, so it's just a bus ride, right? We're not gonna fly there, just easy bus ride. So we play U of A, get smoked, like probably lose by 30, right? And U of A obviously is a rivalry game, so it's hype, game's crazy. So coach is fired up because this is a rivalry game, right? He wants to win. We struggled all year, whatever. So we're on the bus back, and it's probably like 2:30, 3 a.m. And he's like, we got film. And everybody's tired, like, tired. We're like, oh, damn, we got film. So we get there. We're going to the film room. He's like, what's the problem? Everybody's kind of like quiet, heads down. He's like, what's the problem? He starts looking at guys. Sit up straight. What are you doing? Everybody's kind of like. And then one of the assistant coaches says, we got bad off the court issues. We got bad habits off the court. Then everybody gets scared because, everybody, it's ASU. So dudes are partying, smoking, whatever's going on, right? And it's like everybody starts sweating because they're like, oh, what's going to come next? Yeah. And then the next practice, we're just running, all practice. And he's like, you know what? We're going to start sweating some of those bad habits out. So for like a whole week, bro, we're just running every day. Like not touching basketball, it's just running, getting up and down, running. Bring your track shoes. So it's funny that you said that because coaches, they have those breaking points, right? And when they have them, it's all guns loaded. Yeah. They're loaded. It's a slippery slope. Every question is loaded. If you come in there hat backward, you better turn that thing around or take it off. Seriously,
you better take it off. You better take it off.
That's crazy.
Well, they're putting food on their family's plates, right? So they have to be like that. Yeah, and right, like you said, they hit those breaking points where they're like, this is my life.
I know.
This is how I go pay for my kids in and out.
Yeah.
So.
Man, so NAU, we'll get back on track with that. So NAU, obviously, you start playing there. You start becoming their guy, especially this last season. You seemed to be like their main focus. Talk about that transition from obviously getting there, being kind of the bright-eyed, getting yelled at day one, to kind of becoming their big man and honestly like a focal point of their team.
Yeah. So I was hurt from when I got there to probably around when the season's November. I was hurt for that long. So from when I graduated high school all the way to that November, I would say,
but I do want to throw in there that time of you kind of sitting on the sidelines and like seeing how the coach interacts. Like you talked about this, like being able to kind of like zoom out and seeing like what the coach likes, what the coach doesn't like, and getting to learn like kind of where his pressure points are. That was probably pretty beneficial.
Oh, the awareness that I gained from it.
Word of the month, baby.
Word of the year.
That's literally, we've been talking about awareness since what? Summer started? Like we've been talking about it. Awareness is so key.
That's all it is.
Yeah, that's life. That's being a human being every day. You got to have awareness. You got to know what's going on. You got to understand like what aspects of life is going to help you. And like if you don't have awareness, you're cooked.
You don't have anything.
Yeah, you're done. You're done. You're done.
No,
back to what you're saying. So you start playing. You're hurt. Play November.
Yeah. So I ended up. I was hurt until November, and I just said. So this is what happened when I first got to NAU. It was winter, right? And you guys know who David Goggins is?
Oh, yeah, stay hard.
Yeah, stay hard, baby. Stay hard. And it was winter time, and snow was falling down. Yeah. And I'd go to the football fields at NAU. I'd hop the fence, and I'd strip down to just my shorts.
Yeah.
I'd be barefoot, right, in the snow, and I wasn't cleared to run, and I'd sprint back and forth with David Goggins in the AirPods. And I'm just like, dude, can't. And I'm just like, I'm trying to figure out how in the hell I can get past this. Yeah. Do I need to mentally will my way through this?
Psych yourself into it or something.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm running sprints in the snow, freezing my ass off, trying to figure out how I can beat this. Yeah. And so I had a lot of those nights, and to my point, it comes to the point where a couple weeks before season starts, and I'm like, I haven't even touched the court yet. I just got to get out there. I'm gonna suck it up no matter how much pain. I was in so much pain. Yeah. And I just went out there and I sucked it up. And it was a week before we played U of A, kind of like the same situation. And first game of the year, and I came off the bench, played against U of A, and I've started. After that game, I've started in my career since. I started as a walk-on, right? So it's a crazy sequence. That whole year, I battled so much pain in my back and in my hamstring. The pain was almost unbearable at times. I was talking to the trainers and the strength staff. It was. I don't know how I'm doing this. Yeah. I don't know what to do, and I don't know how I'm doing this.
That's a good segue because I want to talk about you're obviously a big nutrition guy. We got the Mountain Valley
water.
Spring water, baby.
Spring water, the glass bottle.
NIL deal. We need a deal.
Get that over here. But talk about that because nutrition is a large part of you as an individual as well. And then earlier before we started to hit record, you said that's a big reason that you got healthy. So talk to everybody about that, like the nutrition side of things, when you realized like that was what helped you.
Yeah, so me and my parents, we went through tons of different doctors, physical therapists, team docs at CBU, team docs at NAU, and I mean, tens of thousands of dollars. No one could fix what was going on. And so I was like, there's got to be something deeper, right? There has to be something that I'm not trying. Yeah. So I bought a book called Performance Through Pain, and that book changed my life. It was about this author. She goes all around the world to these blue zones. Blue zones are tribes and groups of people who don't have any disease. Their lifespan's like 100 on average. They have no disease, and they eat crazy, clean, whole foods. And so she studied what they eat and how they heal. And so I switched to that diet, and I kid you not, a week later I started feeling better. A month later, probably 50% better. And within months, pain completely gone. Yeah. Inflammation gone.
That's wild. Yeah, so just nutrition, your inputs, everything, because you're obviously like an engine. Everything you put in is getting engine. So
it's all fuel, dude.
All fuel.
What did that diet consist of?
So it's a lot of, I cut out gluten, which is breads, pastas, anything. There's gluten in a lot of things, and then I cut out seed oils, which a lot of people are waking up to, but a lot of people don't know about. It's literally in
everything.
The bar right now, it's gonna be in there. It's gonna be canola oil, sunflower oil, soybean oil. One of those.
There's seed oils and vitamins now.
Seed oils and vitamins, dude. Like it's just poison. It just inflames everything. It inflames your gut. It inflames everything. So my whole thing was, how can I cut out all this inflammation? So I cut out gluten. I cut out seed oils. I cut out really anything processed in restaurant food. I literally just cooked all my meals myself, so I can control all those variables, all those inputs you keep talking about, and that's what it was. So it was a lot of grass-fed beef, steaks. It was a lot of fish. It was a lot of chicken. Those were my proteins, and eggs. And then my carbs was a lot of fruit. And I do rice and potatoes, but I kind of started to stay away from grains too. A lot of fruit and honey. And then fats I use really healthy fats. Avocados, great one. Nuts are a great one. Extra virgin olive oil and coconut oil. And those are my top. And then some ghee and some grass-fed butter here and there. Yeah, I use moderately, but it's really all it was.
Yeah. And the eggs, man. That's you are the egg man. This dude is slonking eggs over here. Eggs. We should have just brought a carton for you to do it on the pod or something crazy.
Nice. So with the eggs, are you going like they have to be like from the farm, like, or is it like farmers market eggs, or is it like I'm going to Fry's and just grabbing?
I've been to like the little farm stores and stuff, and I've gotten like local stuff, but that ends up being really expensive. But you can still get high quality eggs at Fry's, Sprouts, Whole Foods, even like Safeway and Bash's, those stores. You can get high quality eggs, Vital Farms, pasture raised, cage free stuff. I'm sure you know about it. But yeah, just getting high quality stuff. And like to his point, I put out a video saying they call me the egg man because I was bulking up at one time. I was drinking 18 raw eggs a day. And I was just slonking them, dude. I was getting jacked. I was getting jacked off them, dude. I was getting jacked.
I tried. I kind of got like memed into it. All right, let me try this. Did two, and I was like,
you wasn't ready.
I try to get the teammates on it. Some of them do it now. Some of the teammates do it, but a lot of people gag when they do it.
All right, man. So that is a good segue then to like nutrition and stuff, because then you actually just started a Discord with Miller. Shout out Miller.
Shout out Milk Cop.
So you just started Discord. There's a ton of good value in there, obviously nutrition, all those things, mindset, ton of different stuff. But I wanted to talk to you about the business side of things because you do have your own brand. You kind of have that entrepreneur mindset, and you obviously are taking advantage of the NIL, all that crazy stuff in college. So first, I want you to dive into using your platform and like the NIL situation. Like when did that kind of come to you and you're like, all right, I need to make some money and take advantage of this?
So my whole idea is we have a window, right? And this goes back to the awareness portion of things. I'm aware that I have a window to capitalize on during my college career, and it's a short window, and it goes fast. And you can put out content about it that can impact a lot of people. So my whole thing was, and I was naive to it for a while. I didn't want to put stuff out.
Yeah.
There's a lot of insecurities
Yeah.
you have to get over.
Gotta get over
Even just to do this, there's a lot of insecurities. There's a lot of work you have to do. And a few years ago, I wasn't at that point. But I also wasn't at that point in my career to where I could have the confidence to. I was just a walk-on. I hadn't played yet. I was hurt.
Fans will want to be like, oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, like I haven't even played a college game yet. What am I doing talking about this? So as life goes on, you develop, you realize you have a window and you have a status to impact people, a platform. There it is, a platform to impact people. So I hired a videographer last summer. That's when I started going on content hard. I hired a videographer and we put out a reel a day. And we were just ripping reels. One of them ended up getting like 1 million, but I ended up limited capital, right? So we stopped doing that, and then just this year, a couple months ago, I started putting out TikToks. So I'm doing like 4 TikToks a day right now, and that's like we talked about that video kind of before this podcast a little bit. I did a video tour of our whole $50 million facility at NAU. The thing just blew up. And there was just a ton of engagement, a ton of people commenting, oh, you haven't seen organs. Oh, no, you haven't. Hey, you guys didn't even win last year. Yeah. I'm responding to comments like, hey, you didn't see us in the championship game, man, like all this. So it got a lot of engagement. But the whole NIL thing, it's a crazy space. It's a space that I think anyone can capitalize on. And I was like, okay, how can I capitalize on it at NAU?
Yeah, with your current tools.
With my current tools, with the current cards I'm dealt. How can I have the awareness of the cards I have and go apply? Yeah. And so I literally went business to business around town and talked to the owners. Like, who's the owner in here? What email can I send? What phone call? And I probably sent out 100 different emails to set up meetings. And you get, it's a numbers game. So you get 10 replies, and then maybe 3 or 4 actually say yes, they're interested. So me and my point guard, Jalen Cohn, he's going to Cal now, but he has a good following on Instagram and TikTok too. So I was like, hey, it was less about the following for the Flagstaff community though. Yeah. It was more about our impact in the community. Yeah. So I have this local component of things, and then I have the global side of things where I'm putting out content for the whole world to see. Yeah. And that literally just nose to the grindstone, just grinding out. I don't know. I don't have an agent. I don't have a pitch deck.
No.
I don't know how to meet with owners, but I learned that at 19, 20 years of age. Yeah. That's special. Those are lessons you're going to remember.
Each time it gets better and better, and you kind of know what to expect, what to say, what not to say.
And I'm pick up a sales job to do it. Yeah. I went into a physical business to sell myself. Yeah. I wasn't selling a product either that I know works. I was selling myself and my impact, which is special.
Which and a lot of athletes don't know how to do, and that's why they can't capitalize on that NIL.
Yes.
But then the more entrepreneur stuff, you do have a brand that you got going with your brother, I think.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And then that took like the back burner for a little bit. So I want to ask you about kind of the balance of being an athlete. Obviously, that's the priority right now. But then also having a brand that you're trying to scale and trying to grow. Like, what's the process with all that? Because there's a lot of players out there like want to have a clothing brand and do this and that. But as you know, a clothing brand is like a full thing.
Oh, it's tough. It's tough.
You can't lose momentum. So talk about that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people I see them start clothing brands, and there's no message behind it. There's no niche to it. And so when I thought of this, I understand the window I have, and the window is also going back to our awareness point. I have a window of free time. Because as athletes, we're super busy, but we also have a window every day that you can either play video games, you can go hang out with friends, you can go do degenerate shit, which a lot of guys do. But no, I have a window to make some money, right? So I was like, how can I capitalize on making money? And so me and my brother, we built Christ Crew, Christian clothing brand. It's a niche we're passionate about. We think we can impact people in. And then I think that, with impact comes material wealth. Mm-hmm. So it can never be about material wealth. It's a byproduct of impact. So we started that, and we had a testing period where it was super successful. As soon as we launched, we ordered $dollars worth of inventory. As soon as we launched, Meta had updated and iOS had updated. Mm-hmm. So all the ads just shit themselves. Yeah. Like the ads just didn't work. So we were like, do we just order inventory? How do we get rid of this now? So we started on organic TikTok. We put out 3 TikToks a day, all at the same time, same schedule. There was one at 11 p.m. at night. There was one at 4 a.m. Mm-hmm. We'd set our alarms, whatever. and we'd put them out. And we ended up gaining some traction on that. And we'd throw out, and a couple videos went viral. They ended up going viral. And so we repurposed those to Meta and Facebook ads. We ran ads to them, and we ended up having a good year. We did the last couple months of the year was when we really started gaining traction. We were doing like months, and it was all off of. It was cool because we had to pivot to, okay, what in the hell do we do now? And you pivot and you figure stuff out, and you pivot again, and then you just keep figuring stuff out. But to your point, we're trying to scale that. We're bringing all manufacturing from China over to the USA, which is cool.
Shout out to Lost Boys.
Shout out Lost Boys Industries in Scottsdale, right here.
Dang, they gonna have to start paying us. Wait, hold on. Hey, we gonna need a ticket. Yeah, we gonna need some free screen printing or something, because that's crazy.
Here, shout out there.
They're making your hats, right?
Yeah, they made a couple hats for me. We got some shirts in the works.
Yeah, come on.
Let's get tapped in.
Come on, Lost Boys.
But yeah, then really just more NIL stuff and things like that. But so kind of future plans to segue, or did you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, it's just funny. Like, everybody that we talked to, well, I mean, obviously it's just been me and Carson so far, but even just like Corey this morning and Walt, like, to be great, you have to have structure, right? You got to align yourself with your passions and what you want to do. You got to be consistent.
Relentless, too.
Like, he's consistent with the business stuff, right? Consistent with the NIL. You've been consistent getting healthy. But, like, a lot of guys, they fall off, right? They're not consistent with it. They're not structured. They have no alignment. They're playing video games, right? Now, there's guys playing video games and doing the Twitch thing and doing things that's going to actually help them. For sure. But then there's guys that just, I'm going to go out, I'm going to play video games, and then I'm going to wake up and go to practice. And if you have that mindset in 2023, you won't be successful. You know, it's not like 2011. It's not like the 2000s where you can kind of get by a little bit. NIL is not really important. You got your scholarship. But now guys are signing one-year deals at school because every year I'm jumping in the portal, or every year I'm thinking about grad transferring or whatever the case may be. It wasn't like that. And now it's like you really have to be consistent with that. And I appreciate that. Like, you have that alignment, you have the structure, you have the consistency, and it's showing to prove that it's working. Getting deals, you're hooping, like.
It's the theme of the podcast, man. Up to you. So obviously you don't wait for anybody else to put it in play. You do the work, and it's showing, man. You're a product of it. So talk about the future, man. Obviously you got 2 years left. 2 years left. Yep. So we're going back to NAU, right?
Going back to NAU, yep.
And then, what's just like the future plans, focusing on hoop, all the good stuff.
Yeah, so going back to NAU,
should have a good season.
Great season. We got a lot of good recruits coming in, got a lot of good transfers coming in, and then we'll see how the career finishes in high school, or not high school, but a long way from high school. But see how the career finishes in college, and then go from there with everything, professionally. Because I do. My whole idea in going back to awareness and inputs and consistency, drive, all that. My whole what I realized I'm about is just maximizing everything that I can do in this life. Like, literally maximizing. You're up to you. You are up to you, and literally maximizing everything in every aspect. Why would I be great at basketball and let my fitness fall? Why would I be amazing at basketball or amazing at fitness, but I don't have the entrepreneurial mind and that business mind to go make money and impact people and build businesses that help the world and advance the world. So my whole thing is I'm going to maximize basketball. Back to that point, I'm going to maximize basketball. I'm going to put my heart and soul into it for as long as I can, see where I can take it, which I think is special because I think I'm raw and my potential's untapped. And there's a lot of growing that I can do that's going to take me places that I didn't, as kids, you don't really know what's attainable. But as you start going through life, you realize, okay, this is a reality. And you keep hitting those points and those milestones where you realize this is a reality. This is a reality. This is a reality. So after next year, something's going to be a reality. And then the next year, something's going to be a reality. And it just keeps happening.
Keeps growing and growing and growing.
Just keep growing, dude.
100%.
It was a good one.
It was a really good one. I appreciate you coming out. I learned a lot, and I hope like the viewers, the kids that I train, coaches can learn from this because, when we have these guests come on, we want to learn. and that's the big piece of it. And yeah, I hope these kids can really learn something.
Absolutely, man.
So this was part 1. We are going to do part 2. I'm calling this out right now.
Yeah, part 2.
At NAU. We're going to pull up on him in Flagstaff.
Yeah. Facility tour. We need it all. Yeah, we need it all.
But I appreciate you, man. Thank you for coming.
Thanks, bro.
This is a good-ass episode.
Yeah, thank you.
Cheers.